Introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, hi guys, thank you for having me. I'm Sönke, working for EyeEm, doing strategic partnerships, and a couple of weeks ago, Yuri asked me to give a little demo about our AI/computer vision technology. Some of you might know that already. So, who are we? Yuri asked me not to doing a sales pitch, so I try not doing that. But we are a creative community marketplace for content. So basically, we crowdsource content through our own social network, and we make that available for brands and agencies in the whole world. And we had a very simple problem. If you have 22 million contributors globally, and you get billions of photos every single day, how can you make them available for purchase? And it's not only annotation, like tagging or classification, it's also like how can you fit the right photo to the right client? How can you say this aesthetic matches your brand aesthetic? How to make it easier for you to find the same content? Imagine Coca-Cola and Pepsi are both looking for a summer photo for a summer campaign. They're entering summer in Google Image Search, or they're entering summer party in Getty Images or other agencies. Both will find the same search results. But how can you find results that matches your brand aesthetics? So this is something that our machine learning team focuses on, or focused on in the past years. A little bit background about technology, so this will be not very technical, but we can talk about that afterwards if you have any questions. So basically our system can do two different elements. The first is, can tagging, like classification, also caption the photo. So pretty much important, you guys will say, okay, let's use Google Image Search, Google Vision for that, let's use Amazon Recognition, which I would not recommend because it's the worst from all of them, you know that. But in our use case, it's pretty much important not only tag the photo, so tell what is in the photo. In our use case, it's very important to tell stories about the photo, talk about emotions, talk about if you have a beer bottle, happy people, Coca-Cola, smiling confetti, that this is a party. So it's about contextual stories about a photo. And there wasn't just no technology out there that we could use from scratch, so we built our own computer vision system for that. The second piece that I mentioned is aesthetics. So what is aesthetics? Aesthetics in our case is not talking about just pure composition of the photo. So this right balance, it's not about is it sharp or not sharp, it's really about how a human person, and technically it's called computational aesthetics. So you can Google for that, EyeEm computational aesthetics, you will find the papers for it, or I can send it. But pretty much important, it records your mind. So from a couple of photos, and we have a demo for that later, that you submit to our system, and you talked about self-training and fast training, this is something that our users can also do. They can self-train the system, so there is no computer vision engineering needed to record or train aesthetics. And I already mentioned that, personalized aesthetics, so you can really personalize the system for your own needs when you're looking for the right content for your brand. So this is basically, so we can jump already. Let's see, demos are always tricky, right? If you do live demos. Can you see that? Yeah. So you guys can try that out on our website. So this is a very basic system, just drag and drop content that you have, for example. So let's take, for example, this simple photo with a basketball guy in there. So the aesthetic score that you see here is a baseline or a vanilla aesthetic based on what we think. Can I scroll here for some reason? Do you know that? Or just. Okay, cool. So you see the aesthetic is a baseline aesthetic. So we would consider this photo not being sellable on our platform. So we train like a score for photos that sell very well. But what you see already in here, you can see sunset, silhouette, basketball sport. But also important for us is leisure activity, because if you buy photos or search for photos, you're looking for this topic maybe because you want to write a story about it. And then the caption is important if you do image sales or sell content. It's silhouette, people playing with ball against sky during sunset. This is exactly what people would look for when they want to buy or license a photo like this. So this is all generated by the machine. We can take a random photo. I just downloads. So I just come from Energy today. So Energy, like a big energy company, obviously working with them. So for them it's pretty much important to categorize their photos. So this is a photo from the Instagram account where you can see a young woman using mobile phone in city. This is exactly what people were looking for. And wireless technology, connection, smartphone, but also where it is. It's outdoors, it's about casual clothing, etc. So this is all stuff that's being done automatically by our system. and that we need when other people do it with humans. So companies like Getty Images, for example, and others, they pay up to 30, 40, 50 cents per photo to get it tagged, to get it reviewed, to get the releases. If you have people in there, you need to tell people, you give you an okay for that, right, that we sell it. And we just do it automatically with the machine learning system. So this is a little bit how the system was built in the past, or how it gets data back. And this is GDPR compliant. So for all of the Germans or people that will say, oh, this is data from visitors, this is all compliant. We are allowed to do that. We delete every photo, every video after we analyze it. So basically, when you download our app, so it's not a sales pitch, but download it. When you download our app on iOS or Android, you will get an auto-tagging feature. So after uploading a photo during the upload process, we auto-tag your photos. And it's more recommendation because we do not believe we should replace all humans, but we should augment the workflows of the people with our AI, with our system. So people can still delete tags or add tags. And this is also data points where the system goes, oh, something might be wrong, something might be good. So even the user interaction with the AI system after the auto-tagging. So we call it like our virtuous or magic cycle internally. Some success stories and also another demo in here. So the Boston Consulting Group, I think many of you know the company. It's a big consulting firm, 11,000 employees globally. They had a big challenge. They made a big redesign 2 years ago. But how can you guarantee that every little consultant and every little office globally uses the same image language that the brand team wants you to use? So you have a managing partner of the branding team sitting there and says, this is what you need to use, but the social media intern usually doesn't know what brand means, what aesthetic means. So we help them to train a personalized aesthetic and apply that to their system. Quick. So just that you get a feeling of how complicated the image language from BCG is. So it's not just that you have talk about finance and you show some money, right? When you talk about finance for BCG, it's transparency. You show water drops on windows. We probably show glass windows, we probably show reflections and all this stuff. It's very complicated aesthetics, not easy to learn. And I show you this demo live in a bit. But just with a couple of 100 photos for them, we had about 500 photos, the training set. We retrained, not the whole neural network of course, but the outer layer of the network for every client, in this case for BCG. And today, 11,000 consultants globally have access to our database. So it's part of their PowerPoint plugin, where they can search through our automated tags and also can search by their own company aesthetics. So basically it's three simple steps. Step number one should be done by every company, so you should have a brand identity. Pretty much easy. So the training starts from 5 photos on, but of course aesthetics is something very complicated. So we usually say 100 to 200 photos is something that you need as a minimum. Then we do the training on our end, and then the last piece is something that's done by our front-end team, integrating it into the search itself. So this is the easy part. So step number one, we trained with BCG, we sourced the training set. So what we did here was very interesting. We ran global photo contests. So we crowdsourced all the content that they were looking for. So we sent out brand briefs and used the power of the crowd to get the right content on brand in as an initial training set. So in this case, it was a couple of 100 photos at the very beginning. So then we trained it, and I'll give you a demo of that in a bit. So, it's good. So you see the system here. So either as a brand, you can connect to Dropbox, Google Cloud, Flickr is not there anymore, I still have it for historical reasons. Google Photos, Instagram, so usually many brands have already a very well curated Instagram feed with the top content so you can easily connect. And I just take again the energy photos that I stole from the Instagram feed. So you upload the photos here as a brand manager. Maybe let's take some more because this is. As a brand manager, you can still in here decide, oh, this is something that I want to see, this is something that I don't want to see, probably this is something that I don't want to see because it just uploaded as a regular graphics in here. Same for this. Okay, cool. And then let's do the training. So actually we have a core model that we train for our brand. So this is like the median or core aesthetics of most of the brands we do have. So we do a retraining of the outer layer of the brand aesthetics. And now what we do here is we pop up photos from our database that are in the style and aesthetics of the brand. And usually we have two or three iterations here with the brand, but it's as fast, so it takes you probably half an hour when you have the right content and training set in there. You can retrain it, and then at the end you can click here and say add as a search link, and the result is here. You have your enterprise product. This is where you can search photos on our platform, and you can search in between the different aesthetics you train. So most relevant, we train something for travel and nature. This is like what a Booking.com or other bigger travel agencies, Kaya, probably would see. You can see this more from a financial aspect. So this is what we train for some consultancies. When you enter Berlin, but more from a financial angle that we train for a client. So this is something that really depends on the test trainings that we do. So usually what we sell a lot is like travel and nature, retail, and consultancies. Technology view, what BCG sees, how BCG wants to see Berlin as a topic in their aesthetics. Yeah, and I showed you this already, so everyone has access to this. This is all available through APIs, so you can either use our system, you can connect to an API that we have. It's available as an on-premise solution, so you can use it on your own or use it anywhere else. The second challenge that we had was Motorola, so they were looking, that was 2 years ago, when they were still working, so now they're not there anymore. But it's a nice case study because they needed, for the phone series, they needed many different colors and background images for their phones. It was a very specific aesthetic. So we did again, we crowdsourced the content for them, and we have this nice tool. So this is the back office tool from our photo contest system, from our mission system. So what brands can do actually when we crowdsource content through those contests, they can go into this tool every single day, and we get up to 100,000 photos in 1 or 2 weeks for them for a specific topic. So they can just go in there, and on the first row or the second row, you see like selected by EyeEm Vision. So our AI here selects based on the brand aesthetics a shortlist. So actually brand managers just need to get in, pick what they want, and then use it on social media or website or print or email newsletters, whatever. So this were the results that we worked with the platform. Yeah, thank you. Quick walk through. We can talk about technology later if you want, so I'm going to stay here until the end.